Hi my dear students, in this class we are going to see class 7 chapter 5 which is quality. Okay, so what do you understand by quality? What do you mean by quality? So quality is nothing but it's like a comparison measurements, or I can say it's standards. It tells about the standard. Yeah, this is somewhat suits here. Okay, so standard. So which type of standards? Quality. Suppose let me tell you, for example, I'll give you two pens. Okay, one is a very smooth ball pen. Okay, and another one is it's just a 2 rupee pen. Okay, so which one do you prefer? Yes, of course, you just go for ball pen. You just go for the ball pen. Why? Because its quality is good, its standards is good. If you measure both pens, if you compare both pens, you obviously go for the ball pen, isn't it? So, in this lesson, we are going to talk about the quality. But which quality? Let me give you a brief explanation of this lesson. Okay? So, this lesson is all about a shoemaker whose name is Kessler. Okay? He was very good at his work. He loved his work. For him, his work is just not less than a prayer. Means he loves his work that much. Okay? Not only that, this lesson holds a lot of emotion. At the end, you may also feel for this shoemaker. The author of this lesson is his client. Whose client? The shoemaker's client. Once he visited his shop. So he was just explaining his entire experience about that shoemaker. Okay. If I tell you entirely about this lesson, you may not get that much of interest in listening. Okay. Without wasting any time, let's get into the lesson. Okay. So let's start. Okay. Before you read, can a shoemaker be called an artist? Yes, if he has the same skill and pride in his trade as any other artist and the same respect for it too. Mr. Gessler, a German shoemaker settled in London, is a perfect artist. Read this story to see how he devotes his life to his art. The meaning of these lines are: once there was a German shoemaker whose name was Mr. Gessler. He settled in London for doing his job. He treated himself as an artist. Just tell me, can shoemaker be an artist? Yes, of course, if he is good at his work. Why not? Just tell me, who is an artist? An artist is the one who is or was perfect in his own work. He is called an artist. So let's take an example. If a person who is good at dance, he may be called as artist. A person who make a delicious food and he presents the food in such a good manner, so he also called an artist, isn't it? Everyone, the one who is perfect in his work, who treat his work as everything, who gives himself, who gives his 100%, more than 100% in his work genuinely, he may be called as artist. So here also this shoemaker is called an artist. Why? Because he also has that same skills and respect for its own job, isn't it? So here in this lesson we are going to see how this shoemaker, means Gessler, he spent his entire life for making boots, to be a shoemaker. He devotes means he just into his work, he just give his more than 100%. He treat his work as prayer, so he gives his more than 100% for his work. That's why he is called a devote. Okay, let's see this story. I knew him from the days of my extreme youth because he made my father's boots. He lived with his elder brother in his shop, which was in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. So here the author is telling us that he knew that shopkeeper, he knew that shoemaker from his earlier days, of youth. Means when he was young, at that time he met that shoemaker. Why? Because maybe he went to his shop with his father to buy his father's boots. Maybe that time he met that shoemaker. So this shoemaker lived with his elder brother in his shop. Here, elder brother is nothing but the one who is older than him. Okay, his shop is in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. Here, by street is nothing but means at the corner. His shop was at the corner or beside the main street part of London. Okay, got it? So, we'll see the next lines. The shop had a certain quiet distinction. There was no sign upon it other than the name of Kessler's Brothers, and in the window a few pairs of boots. He made only what was ordered, and what he had never failed to fit. To make boots, such boots as he made, seemed to me then and still seem to me mysterious and wonderful. So here the author is telling us his shop was quite distinction. Here distinction is nothing but somewhat different when compared to the other shops. Why? Because there was no signboard on the shop. Here signboard is nothing but the unique name which we gave to our shop. So there is no signboard, but only the Gessler's brothers. Only there was a name as Gessler's Brothers. And besides, in a window there are few pair of boots. There was a very little pair of shoes in the window to showcase the people. Suppose when we visit a big malls or a big shoe shops, there we come across to see a many pair of boots displaying in the window to attract customers, right? But here it's not like that in Gessler's shop. Why? Because he made only the shoes what he ordered. There was no ready-made shoes in that shop. He just made the shoes by taking the measurement right now there itself within some days. Okay, this is somewhat the quality of this shop. That's why here the author is telling us this shop is quite distinction. This shop is quite different when compared to other shops. Okay, whenever someone visit to his shops, he made only what was ordered. If the visitor came to his shop and he asked to make boots, then only he made that boots, otherwise he won't. So next, what the author is telling us, to make boots, such boots as he made seemed to me then and still seems to me mysterious and wonderful. It means he was just remembering those days when he used to go with his father at that time. At that time, how he made the shoes, it was just same as till now. I can't even tell you how he made such beautiful and wonderful shoes. I can't explain in words. Who is telling these lines? These lines are spoke by the author, who is the client of this shoemaker. Okay, let's move on to the next paragraph. I remember well my shy remarks one day while stretching out to him my youthful foot. Isn't it awfully hard to do, Mr. Gessler? And he answered, given with a sudden smile from out of the redness of his beard, it is an art. So one day what happened? Actually, I told you that he used to go to that shop with his father. One day by accidentally he had to go to that shop alone. So he went to the shop and he ordered for a pair of boots. That's why for that he just stretched his foot to the shoemaker. At that time he felt very shy. While he was giving his order, at that time this client asked that shoemaker, Isn't it awfully hard to do, Mr. Gessler? Here, awfully hard is nothing but very hard to do. It means, Mr. Gessler, I think doing such a difficult and such a hard work here. Isn't it very hard to do, Mr. Gessler? Then that Gessler smiled and gave the reply out of happiness that it's an arts. Here, as I told you that this Gessler is a German, so his language is like that. Okay, it is an arts, but it means it is an art. Why he is telling that it is an art? Because he loved to make boots for others. That's why he said that it is an art. I don't feel it hard to make boots because I love doing my job. So this is what he replied. Let's see the next paragraph. It was not possible to go to him very often. His boot lasted terribly, having something beyond temporary, some essence of boots stitched into them. So, the meaning of these lines are here, the client here, this author is telling us that he won't visit his job often means frequently. He won't go to the shop oftenly. He just visit his job very rarely. Why? What do you think? Why is the quality of his boots was not good? No, it was not like that. Actually, the boots what he made it last long. Terribly here, lasted terribly is nothing but lasted very long. Means if someone buys shoes from his shops, it lasts long. That boots run for a long time. Actually, suppose if you go to the market and buy shoes from the shops, ready-made shoes, I'm talking about ready-made shoes. If you buy those shoes, what happened? It just lasts for 2 months, 3 months, hardly 5 months, right? But his shoes lasted for a couple of months. The quality of his boots was so much good that it lasted for a long time. The one who buy boots from his shop doesn't get any complaint to him. So next paragraph. One went in not as into most shops, but restfully, as one enters a church, and sitting on the single wooden chair waited. A brutal sound and the tip tap of his slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs, and he would stand before one without coat, a little bent in leather apron with sleeves turned back, blinking as if awakened from some dreams of boot. So here the author is explaining us how one feel when he or she enters into the shops. He was just sharing his experience, how one feel, how we feel when we enter into the shop. So he was telling that if someone enters in his shop, there was no confusion of searching for this and that. Suppose, for example, if you go to a shoe shop, what happened? We see many pair of shoes there. At that time, we get confused to take this or that. We were in very confusion, right? But here there is no confusion like that. Why? Because there is somewhat peace in that shop. Like here the author is comparing the shop as a church. How we feel when we enter into a church, how we feel very peaceful, right? That same feeling will get you when you enter that shop. There is one wooden chair. Okay, one has to go inside the shop and sit on that chair. You have to wait for that shoemaker to come, means that Gessler to come to you. So when he was waiting for that Gessler, at that time he heard some sound, some brutal sound. Here brutal is nothing but harsh, means something like maybe someone is hitting something with an hammer. Of course, he is a shoemaker, right? That's why he may be hitting that leather to shape, okay, for making boots. Maybe that sound he is hearing at that time. After that, He also heard the tip tap sound of the slippers which is beating the wooden stairs. Here actually this Gessler was coming from upwards using a wooden stairs. Actually there are a wooden stairs. When someone is coming on the wooden stairs, they you may be heard some tip tap sound of the slippers like tuck 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 tuck. So here also he this author is hearing that sound. Okay, then Gessler came in front of the author. Here, the author is telling us the physical appearance of Gessler, how he was. Okay, he was something bent. He was a little bent. Not only that, he doesn't wear any coat. Actually, when someone owns a shop, he will be like in a tip-top manner. But here, this Gessler is acting just like an ordinary man. He did not wear any coat. So he was just like a simple man. Not only that, he just wear an apron which is made up of leather. He wear a leather apron. Do you know what is apron means? Apron is nothing but, you may have seen that chefs while they were cooking, they just wear a cloth in front of. So that is what apron means. Okay, so his sleeves was turned back. Turned back means so like that. Okay, he was just observing the Gessler. Why? Because he was just blinking his eyes as if someone has wakened him when he was dreaming about boots. Like suppose you were sleeping and your mummy came and wake you up. How you treat? You were in sleep, right? At the time what you'll do, you just blink the eyes. What, mama? Like that. So here also the Gessler is blinking like as if the author has wake him up. Okay, let's see the next paragraph. And I would say, how do you do, Mr. Gessler? Could you make me a pair of Russian leather boots? Without a word, he would leave me, retiring whence he came or into the other portion of the shop. So, as soon as Gessler came in front of the author is greeting him. Author asked him, how do you do, Mr. Gessler? Means, how are you, Mr. Gessler? He replied nothing. After that, author only asked him, could you please make me a pair of Russian leather boots? As soon as he heard this sentence, without uttering a single word, he just leave him there itself and went back from where he came. Okay, let's see what happened next. And I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade. Soon he would come back holding in his hand a piece of gold brown leather. With eyes fixed on it, he would remark, what a beautiful piece. When I too had admired it, he would speak again. When do you want them? And I would answer, oh, as soon as you conveniently can. And he would say, tomorrow fortnight. Or if he were his elder brother, I will ask my brother. Okay. As soon as he asked him, could you please make me a Russian leather boots, without uttering a word, he just leave him there itself. Okay. Unless he came, he had to sit on that wooden chair itself. At that time, he just enjoying the smell of the leather from his trade. Means the smell of the leather was too good that anyone can love that smell. So he was also inhaling the essence of his trade. Within that time, he just came back holding in his hand a piece of brown leather, gold brown leather. When the author is trying to ask him something, but he was not seeing the author, he was just looking at his own leather which he was holding in his hand, because this tells us that how much he loved his work. So by looking at his own leather, he was just admiring by himself, what a beautiful piece. By looking at the leather holding in his hand, he was just praising by himself that look at this, what a beautiful piece. If the customer also admired his leather, then only he could speak, otherwise he won't speak. So that's why author had to admit, yes, absolutely, it's a beautiful piece. Then he speak, okay, just tell me, when do you want them? I can make boots for you. When do you want them? Then the author replied, as soon as you can conveniently give me. Okay, with your convenient only, you just give me as soon as possible. Then he gave time as tomorrow fortnight. Here fortnight is nothing but 14 nights. From tomorrow 14 nights means after 15 days you have to come back, then I will give you the boots for you. Okay. One more thing here, the author is telling us, if there were no one in the shop, he will give the time as 15 days, means tomorrow fortnight. Suppose if he was his elder brother, then he would say that, wait for a minute, I'll go and ask my brother, means Gessler. Okay, understood? Let's see the next paragraph. Then I would murmur, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Gessler. Good morning, he would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand. And as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip tap of his slippers going up the stairs to his dream of boots. So here the author is telling us, as soon as he gave the order, by he was about to leave the shop. At that time, he just said, murmur himself, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Gessler. In reply, Mr. Gessler also said, good morning, still looking. Still, his eyes were fixed on the leather, and he would reply as good morning. Then, as he moved to the door, he again heard the same tip tap sound of his slippers going upstairs, as if here the author is thinking that as soon as I leave the shop, he just go back to his dream of boots. Okay, understood? Let's see the next paragraph. I cannot forget the day on which I had occasion to say to him, Mr. Gessler, that last pair of boots creaked, you know. He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement, then said, it shouldn't have creaked. It did, I'm afraid. Here, the author is telling us the unforgettable moment of his life. What's that means? One day, when he visited the shop of Mr. Gessler, he had to say to Mr. Gessler that the last pair which he got from him was somewhat creaked. Here, creaked is nothing but the sound which made by the boots. So, as soon as the author told the Gessler that last pair was creaked, then he looked at me for a time without even replying to my question, and he was waiting for me to take out the words, means withdraw. Here withdraw is nothing but to take back the words what I just spoke. So he was expecting me to just take the words what I spelled, what I told to him just before, or else he is just expecting me that I have made fun for some time. After some time, he just replied, it shouldn't have creaked. Means, I don't think so. It's possible that my boots were creaked. Okay, then the author said, no, Gessler, I'm telling you the fact that my boots were really creaked. Whether you believe or not, whatever I'm just saying, it's true. Then see what happened. You got them wet before they found themselves. I don't think so. At that, he lowered his eyes as if hunting for memory of those boots, and I felt sorry I had mentioned this grave thing. Send them back, he said. I will look at them. Some boots, he continued slowly, are bad from birth. If I can do nothing with them, I take them off your bill. Okay, so as soon as the author told him that his boots were creaked, Gessler just lowered his eyes and went into a deep memory of how he made that boots. So by looking at Gessler, he felt very sad about him, and he was talking to himself that why I have mentioned this grave thing. Here grave thing is nothing but why I have mentioned this thing, Because of me only he was just went in a deep memory. So after that Gessler said him, send them back. I will look at them. You just do one thing, you send those boots back, I'll just look at them. Again he said that some boots were bad by birth. If you haven't made them wet, then it shouldn't have been creaked. But sometimes it may happen. Why? Because some boots will be bad in condition from birth, from the day it was made. Okay, you just send them back. I look at them. If I can do anything, I can repair and give it back to you, or else I will refund your money. Here, by the word refund or I will take off your bill, from this we can easily get that this man, means this Gessler, is genuinely a trustworthy person. He is genuinely a hard working person. Only a hard and genuine person can say this, I will refund you back, right? Let's see the next paragraph. Once, only once, I went absent mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. At last he said, those are not my boots. So, here the author is sharing his another experience here. Once, what happened? Only once. That incident happened only once. What I am going to tell you now. Okay. Once, what happened? He had to go to the shop and order for the boots. At that time, while on his way to the shop, one day what happened? Maybe he got some emergency, or we don't know exactly, because here the reason is not mentioned. Maybe for emergency he had to go to the other shop and buy the boots for himself. Okay, maybe that time he had buy boots and wear it, and one day absent mindedly he wore that other shoes, means other shop shoes, and enter into the Gessler shop. Okay, are you getting my point? He wore the shoes which he bought from other shop, and absent mindedly one day he entered into Gessler shop. So what happened when he entered into the shop to give the order for his own boots? Here the Gessler is not showing any interest in him. He was just getting surprised. Why? Because when he actually, whenever he go to the shop and give the order for his boots, at that time he just go and hold a piece of leather in his hand. But here in this time he is not holding any leather in his hand. He was just behaving differently this time. Here the author is getting surprised to see his new side, because he also don't know what exactly happened, what mistake he has done. But after some time the author feel that his eyes penetrating the covering of my foot, because actually he wore the shoes which he bought from other firm, other large firm, other big shops. That's why maybe that changed his behavior that time. That's why he was just penetrate. Here penetrating is nothing but to take a deep look. Here the Gessler is taking a deep look on the boots what he was wearing at the time. Okay, then at last after some time he said, those are not my boots. Let's see the next paragraph. The tone was not one of anger, nor of sorrow, not even of content, but there was in it something quiet that froze the blood. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable. So, what happened? The way he spoke the sentence that these are not my boots, the tone of that is not one of anger nor of sorrow and not even of contempt. The way he said that it's not out of angerness, means these are not my boots. He said he didn't mean in that way. Okay, nor of sorrow, means he didn't say, he didn't spell it in a pain that you wear others boots. It's not even of contempt. Here contempt is nothing but what a cheap quality you wore. So he didn't mean in that way too, but the way he said that, it just froze the author's blood. Here froze is nothing but to freeze something, means if someone said something for some time, you just feel for that, means what he is telling, you just go into that deep sorrow. So here also author is feeling the same. Then after some time he just put down his hand and pressed the finger where the author is feeling quite uncomfortable. Then the author gets surprised how this Gessler know that I am feeling uncomfortable. As soon as he pressed there, I was feeling much more comfortable than before. From these points I can easily say that how brilliant artist he how brilliant artist Gessler was. So you imagine, only an artist can pick the mistake, can find out the mistake in a crowd. Okay, by seeing to that boots he can recognize the mistake where he was feeling uncomfortable. As soon as he pressed his finger on that place, it made him comfortable. Let's see what happened next. It hurts you there. Those big firms have no self respect, and then, as if something had given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. It was the only time I ever heard him discuss the conditions and hardships of his trade. So, when Gessler pressed his finger on the left foot of the author by saying that it hurts you there, then author replied that yes, I am feeling quite uncomfortable here. Then he continued saying like, these big firms here, big firms is nothing but big malls type, big shops. Okay, these big shop they doesn't hold their self. He is not saying in a vulgar way. He was just telling the author that these big shops they made fatafat, means they made in a quick manner the ready-made shoes and the customer buy it in an emergency, and it hardly runs for 2 to 3 months. But by seeing the big brands and by seeing the big shops, customer attracts to the shops because they are giving advertisements of, in this way they are just cheating the customers. But look at us, we are doing very hard work in making boots, but we take some time by taking the order and making shoes. It takes us time to make the boots. That's why the customers don't visit our shops very often. In this way he was talking, and the author is surprisingly listening to him. Why? Because he haven't heard him talking for a long time. This time he spoke a long and bitterly because he just speak out his heart this time. And not only that, he just express the feelings whatever he come across through his entire lives, the conditions, the hardships what he has faced in his life, he was just expressing it to the author. Now the author also feeling very sorry, very sad about this. Okay, let's see what happened next. They take it all, he said. They take it by advertisement, not by work. They take it away from us who love our boots. It comes to this. Presently, I have no work. Every year it gets less. You will see, and looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before. Bitter things and bitter struggle, and what a lot of grey hairs there seemed suddenly in his red beard. So, when Gessler is talking to that author, here author is observing him from detail as he was talking his heart out today. Okay, now by why? Because he is just explaining whatever the conditions he have faced in his life, whatever the hardships, whatever ups and downs come his life, he was just explaining all this to the author. Here now author is just understanding him very closely this time. Then Gessler said that they take it all. Here they is nothing but these big shops. They take it all. They take all the customers. They attract all the customers from us by giving the advertisement of their shops, not by their work. Their work is not perfect as ours. This is what happening. They take away the customers who love our boots. In this way we are getting less work. Presently I have no work. Every year I get less work because of these big shops, because of their advertisement.
So in this way he was talking to the author, and author is trying to grab him, trying to understand him, and feeling sad for this Gessler. Now he came to know how why he looked so old before his age, and now he is noticing all these, and the wrinkles of on his forehead, and the gray hair in his beard. All these things he was observing this time very closely. Why? Because this time he spoke for a long time. He spoke all the bitter things, all the ups and downs in his lives. That's why. Okay, let's see the next paragraph. As best I could, I explained the circumstances of those ill omened boots, but his face and voice made so deep an impression that during the next few minutes I ordered many pairs. They lasted longer than ever, and I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. It was many months before my next visit to his shop. This time it appeared to be his elder brother handling a piece of leather. Well, Mr. Gessler, I said, how are you? He came close and peered at me. I'm pretty well, he said slowly, but my elder brother is dead. So, what happened? As he observed him, as he listened to that Gessler this time very closely, now he was trying to give the explanation, giving all the circumstances, what was happened, why he had wore that boots, but the Gessler is not in that condition to listen all his explanation. By looking at his face means Gessler face, that he is feeling so much, he also feel for that Gessler. Within next few minutes he ordered many pair of boots to make him relax, to make him happy. That's why he ordered many pair of boots, and he took the order happily and gave the boots after some days. Now he has many pair of boots and it lasted for a long time. That's why he don't get that much of time to visit his shop for nearly 2 years. Means for a few couple of months he didn't visit his shop again. Why? Because he is having many paid this time. Okay. After few months when he visited his shop, there's an old man. Then the author thought that maybe he was his elder brother handling a piece of leather in his hand. When he came close to him, then the author said, how are you, Mr. Gessler? He just peered him through his spectacles very closely to this author. Then he replied, means the Gessler replied, I am pretty well. He said very slowly. After that, he said, my elder brother is dead. He was so shocked to listen to that because he think that this old man was his elder brother, right? But he said that his elder brother is dead. Then the author thought, if his elder brother is dead, then who is this man? He was in very confusion. Let's see what happened next. And I saw that it was indeed himself, but how aged and wan, and never before had I heard him mention his brother. Much shocked, I murmured, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, he answered, he was a good man. He made a good boot. But his death, and he touched the top of his head where his hair had suddenly gone as thin as it had been on that of his poor brother to indicate, I suppose, the cause of his death. Do you want any boots? And he held up the leather in his hand. It's a beautiful piece. So, what happened? As soon as Gessler said that his elder brother is dead, then the author is confused because he thought that this old man is his elder brother. Now, when he came close to him, the author observed him very closely. Means he just looked at him very closely, and finally he recognized that indeed, means yes, of course, this is the Gessler only. He thought that how aged he become than before. Okay, then he was much shocked that he listened means that he came to listen about his elder brother. Before that, before he never spoke about his elder brother. This time, when he listened about his elder brother, he was much shocked. Means because he didn't see him before in this shop. So at last he murmured, "Oh, I'm sorry." Then Gessler said, "It's okay," and said that my brother is a good man. He also made good boots, but now he is dead. Then, after some time, he came close to the author and asked him, "Do you want any boots?" By holding the leather in his hand and by saying, means, and by fixing his eyes on the leather and saying, "What a beautiful piece." From this point, he just confirmed that this man is the Gessler only. Okay, let's see the next paragraph. I ordered several pates. It was very long before they came, but they were better than ever. One simply could not wear them out, and soon after that I went abroad. I was over a year before I was again in London, and the first shop I went to was my old friend's. I had left a man of 60. I came back to the one of 75, pinched and own, who genuinely this time did not at first know me. Okay?
So, what happened when he asked him, "Do you want any boots?" Then the author ordered this time several pair, not many. He was just ordering for several pair of boots, and this time also the boots was genuinely the better than ever when compared to the other boots from the other shops. Okay, so then he was saying that if one visit this shop and order a pair of boot, then he may not visit again for a few couple of months. Means that much of good quality boots you will get to have from this shop. He was just saying like that. Okay, then soon after he had to leave for abroad. Means he went to abroad for some work, I think so. Okay, means he had to go to abroad for some work. Okay, then what happened? After 1 year he came back to London. Okay, after 1 year he came back to London again. As soon as he came back to London, the first shop he visited is the Gessler shop, whom he was treated his friend. Okay, so when he visited his shop, when he looked at that Gessler, he was very surprised this time. Why? Because when he had to go for abroad, at that time he was almost 60 like that. Okay, within 1 year when he came back, this time he was looking like 75. Means within 1 year he aged like 15 years older than before. He was very shocked to see him. When he wished him, that Gessler replied to him in such a way that Gessler met this author for the first time, because he forgot the author. He was looking at the author as if he was seeing this client for the first time. And then see what happened. "Do you want any boots?" he said. "I can make them quickly. It is a slack time." I answered, "Please, please, I want boots all round, every kind." I had given those boots up when one evening they came. One by one, I tried them on. In shape and fit, in finish and quality of leather, they were the best he had ever made. I flew downstairs, wrote a check, and posted it at once with my own hand. So, what happened? As he was not recognized this author, he just asked him simply as if he was talking to the other kinds, like, "Do you want any boots? I'll make them quickly. It's a slack of time." Here, slack of time is nothing but before he was taking 15 days to make a pair of boots, right? This time he was just taking a very less time and making many pair of boots. Means in a short period of time he was taking the order of making many pair of boots. I won't take much time to make shoes. This type of words he was using this time. Then the author said, please, yes, I came here to order the boots. Please, I want boots all around. I want every kind of boot. Please. Then he took the order. So one evening he gave the time on the day I will give you the boots. And one evening he came and took the boots. He tried one after the another all those boots.
The quality of the leather was superb and the shape is good and it fitted perfectly. The finishing, everything was absolutely fantastic.
He felt very happy. These are the best shoes I ever had. So then he gave the check for this order.
And went happily.
Let's see next paragraph. A week later, passing the little street, I thought I would go in and tell him how splendidly the new boots fitted. But when I came to where his shop had been, his name was gone. I went in very much disturbed. In the shop there was a young man with an English face. Mr. Gessler in? I said. No, sir, he said. No, but we can attend to anything with pleasure. We have taken the shop over. So, after 1 week, while he was passing the street, that fashionable part of London, he thought of visiting the Gessler shop and saying thanks to him for the boots because it was superb. The fitting, the quality, and he was feeling very happy to wear those shoes. That's why, to say thanks, he just wanted to visit the shop. When he went to that shop, at that time he was very confused because he was not finding his shop at that place. His name was not there. He was very much disturbed. Then, when he entered the shop, he came to see a new man there. He came to see a young man with an English face. There was an Englishman in the shop. Then he said, Mr. Gesslerin? Then that Englishman said, No. Then he said, No, what do you mean? Again he said that actually this shop had taken by us. Means we took this shop. After listening to this, author asked him, But where is Mr. Gessler? Englishman answered, Oh, he's dead. Dead? But I only received these boots from him last Wednesday week. How is it possible? The boots which I wore now, I have ordered it and received these boots the before week, the last week itself. I can't believe it. Let's see what happened next.
Ah, he said, poor old man starved himself. Slow starvation, the doctor called it. You see, he went to work in such a way would keep the shop on, wouldn't have a soul touch his boots except himself. When he got an order, it took him such a time. People won't wait. He lost everybody. And there he would sit, going on and on. I will say that for him, not a man in London made a better boot. But look at the competition. He never advertised, would have the best leather too, and do it all himself. Well, there it is. What would you expect with his ideas? So, as soon as the Englishman said that Gessler was dead, then the author,
Surprisingly, what are you saying? How is that possible? I can't believe this. I won't believe this. I visited him the last week. Then the Englishman said that, yes, of course, it happened. He was died because of starvation. And doctors also said that his death was by slow starvation.
only I know. I have seen him very closely. and he went to the work from early morning, and he just stayed there for a long time, for the late night, and doing the whole work by himself. Here, soul touch is nothing but he won't allow anybody to touch the boots, to make the boots, because he wanted to make the boot by himself, by his own hand. Whatever the order he get, he just made it by himself. Okay, when he got an order, he takes some time, but people won't wait for the time. In this way, he was losing everybody. In this way, he was just losing all the customers. He lost everybody. That's why he sit in the shop and doing his work continuously without taking a break, without eating any food. But I must say this, not a man in London like him, like Gessler. Only the Gessler in entire London who make a better boots. But look at the competition outside. These big factories, these big shops, they are giving advertisement and attracting the customers towards their shops. But here, this poor Gessler doesn't have that much of amount to advertise his shops, to advertise his boots. Instead of making a good boots with a good and best quality of leather too, and made by himself, well, this is what happened.
Let's see what happened. But starvation? That may be a bit flowery. As the saying is, but I know myself he was sitting over his boots day and night to the very last you see. I used to I used to watch him, never gave himself time to eat, never had a penny in the house, all went in rent and leather. How he lived so long, I don't know. He regularly let his fire go out. He was a character, but he made good boots. So, by listening to that Englishman,
The author asked him a question, but how starvation? He was getting a good amount of money. Then how is that possible that he died of starvation? Then Englishman said that it may look like a bit flowery for you, but I had seen him doing the work day and night in the shop, sitting over his boots and doing very hard work till the last day. I had seen with my naked eye. And what are you saying? That he is getting good amount of money? Do you know what? All his money went for the room rent and for the leather, because he was making the boots with a good quality of leather. For getting the good quality of leather, he was spending that much of money for the good quality. All those money went in that way, and he is a genuine and true worker. He never get any complaint from the customer. But what the problem is, people are not getting attracted towards his shop. Why? Because as he was not giving advertisement and taking enough time to make boots, to get more customers, he was taking many orders, and within some time, within limited time, he was making many pair of boots. In this way, he was not feeding his stomach. So this is how his death happened. And I know that he is truly a genuine hard work and the artist in entire London. He was such a good character, because in London there is no other competitor who can beat his work and his quality of boots, because he made such a good boots. So at last, by listening to him, he also agreed that yes, he is genuine artist and he made such a good boots in entire London. So this is the lesson, guys. I hope you understood this lesson well. If you like it, please don't forget to hit the like button and do share with your friends, and press the bell icon for getting new updates of my videos. So thank you once again. Bye bye, take care, stay happy.